We love stories about a hero's journey to the top, overcoming obstacles, becoming something more. But we don't often know much about what happens when they get there. Because the truth is, the top might be breathtaking, but it's also completely isolating. Picture a mountain. The climb is hard. The hero sacrifices their time, relationships, and comforts. They push past failure, and eventually they make it to the summit. But when they look around, it's empty. They've reached a place so few ever do, and that's the problem. And the higher a hero rises, the less people can understand what it took to get there, or what it costs to stay. And then there is the superhero climb. They climb faster, reach higher, but that doesn't bring them closer to others. In fact, it does the opposite. It sets them apart. There's actual science behind this. Maslow called the top of the pyramid self-actualization, the fully realized person, the one who becomes everything they're capable of. But what most people forget is what often comes with it: existential loneliness. In a 2011 analysis published in the Journal of Humanistic Psychology, researchers found that people who reach self-actualization often feel less connected to others, not more, because they're living on a different frequency. Psychologist Dacher Keltner found that as people gain power, they tend to lose empathy, not intentionally, but as a byproduct of no longer needing others in the same way. In other words, the more powerful a hero becomes, the more successful an individual becomes, the harder it is to relate. And superheroes are power personified. You don't have to wear a cape to feel the weight of being at the top. Sometimes the most isolated people are the ones that we admire most. Andrew in Whiplash wants to be great. Not good, great. One of the best to ever live. And he gets there, but he sacrifices everything along the way. His friends, his health, his soul. In the end, he's alone, exhausted, but perfect. That's the cost. Or John Nash in A Beautiful Mind. A man whose mind reshapes mathematics, but disconnects him from reality. His brilliance is real, and so is his isolation. These stories aren't about superpowers, they're about something more universal. The truth that excellence, the summit, can be incredibly lonely. Now let's talk about Superman, perhaps the most iconic superhero ever. He's kind, hopeful, stronger than anyone, but he's also alone. Not because he wants to be, but because no one else can truly understand the weight he carries. He sees the world's problems and has to decide which ones he's allowed to fix. He hears everything, feels everything, and still lives with restraint, always holding back. In All-Star Superman, he literally knows he's dying and spends his last days helping in silence, not asking for anything, not telling the people closest to him, because being Superman means being alone, even when surrounded by love. That's the paradox. His power is meant to protect humanity, but it also disconnects him from it. The summit gives you perspective, but it takes away proximity. Just like most things in life, there is a balance. The yin and the yang principle of balance is so true for many parts of our lives. A superhero's greatest burden isn't strength, it's solitude. Not the dramatic, romantic kind, but the quiet kind. The kind where you can't really share your fears or your failures or even your perspective, because no one else has ever been where you've been. And that's why the best superhero stories aren't the ones about saving the world. They're about the cost of being the one who always has to. So here is my question for you. Which superhero do you think carries that burden the most? Let me know in the comments. And in the next video, we're going to talk about what happens when a superhero tries to come down from that mountain and live like the rest of us. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for part 2, and we'll see you next time.